In Schindler's List, the story begins in wartime Krakow, where a charming, well-dressed German businessman named Oskar Schindler arrives looking for opportunity. He isn't introduced as a hero. He's introduced as a man with an instinct for profit and a talent for reading power. He throws money around in the right restaurants, buys drinks for the right officers, and quietly builds a network in a city where everything is being reorganized by force. As the Jewish population is stripped of rights and property, Schindler positions himself to benefit from the new system. He takes over a factory, an enamelware plant, and staffs it the way the authorities prefer, with cheap Jewish labor arranged through a Jewish accountant named Itzhak Stern, who quickly realizes that Schindler's selfish plan might be turned into something life-saving. At first, the arrangement looks like cold math. Stern makes the paperwork work, Schindler makes the money work, and the workers become numbers in ledgers. But even early on, you can feel a difference forming. Stern treats every name as a life, Schindler treats every name as a function, until the world around them makes it impossible to stay detached. As the occupation tightens, the Jewish community is forced into a ghetto, and the city becomes a machine built to humiliate and erase people. Schindler moves easily between worlds. Parties with officers at night, business negotiations by day, brief conversations with workers on the factory floor in between, always smiling, always trading favors, always one step ahead of consequences. Then the violence stops being distant noise and becomes something Schindler can't unsee. The ghetto is liquidated in a brutal sweep. Families yanked from hiding places, homes ripped apart, people sorted like cargo. In the middle of the chaos, Schindler watches from a hillside, and the scale of it lands on him with a weight that doesn't go away. He can't pretend it's just policy anymore. He starts intervening, small at first, then more boldly, using his contacts, his bribes, and his status to pull specific workers out of danger, to delay transports, to keep names off lists that mean death. The most frightening symbol of that system shows up in the form of Amon Göth, the commandant of the labor camp at Plasso. He rules with casual cruelty, treating people's lives like entertainment, and he has the full authority of a regime that rewards brutality. Schindler, who understands power, realizes that saving anyone now means dealing with men like this, men who can erase a person with a gesture. He begins to bribe Göth not just for business advantages, but for human beings. Each favor becomes a life bought back from the edge. Meanwhile, Stern continues quietly doing what he does best, turning Schindler's influence into paperwork that protects people, reshuffling roles, justifying essential skills, building a fragile shield made of stamped documents and official signatures. As the war turns and the camps evolve into something even more deadly, the danger escalates. The factory workers are no longer just labor, they're targets in a system that is accelerating toward mass murder. Schindler's transformation becomes unmistakable. He spends money recklessly, not on luxuries now, but on bribes, permits, and protection. He stops caring about profit and starts caring about time, buying days, buying weeks, buying the chance for people to survive until the war ends. When Schindler learns his workers will be sent away, he makes his most important move. He proposes relocating his factory and his workforce to keep producing for the war effort, framing it as a practical solution while secretly building a lifeboat. A list is made, names selected for transfer to a new factory in Brunlitz, and that list becomes the thin line between life and death. Even then, the system nearly swallows them. The women are mistakenly diverted to Auschwitz, and for a terrifying stretch it seems like Schindler's plan has failed. But he refuses to let it end there. He bargains, bribes, and pressures until the women are released and delivered to his factory, proving that his commitment isn't performative or temporary. It's the whole point now. At the new factory, Schindler's production becomes almost a cover story. The real work is survival. He keeps his workers fed as best he can, shelters them from transfers, and uses every ounce of his credibility to prevent outside interference. The war, however, is still a storm above their heads, and nothing is guaranteed. When the German defeat becomes inevitable, Schindler faces the reality of who he is on paper. A member of the Nazi system, an industrialist who profited from war contracts, a man who will be arrested if he stays. He prepares to flee, and in one of the film's most devastating moments he breaks down, not because he's lost money, but because he can't stop thinking about what else he could have traded away. Another car, another pin. Another luxury turned into another bribe, another name, another person. The workers, alive because of him and Stern and the fragile miracle they assembled, give him a ring inscribed with gratitude. There's nothing triumphant about it. It's grief and relief tangled together, proof of what was saved and proof of what couldn't be. When the war finally ends, the workers step into a world that is technically free, but emotionally shattered, carrying years of hunger, terror, and loss into an uncertain tomorrow. Schindler disappears into exile while those who survived because their names were on that list begin the slow work of living again. The story closes by bridging past and present, showing the real survivors and their families honoring Schindler's grave, quiet evidence that one man's late-awakened conscience, combined with relentless effort and constant risk, resulted in generations that would not have existed otherwise. It doesn't pretend that goodness cancels horror, or that one rescue makes sense of a catastrophe. It simply insists on something smaller and harder, that even in a world designed to erase people, individual lives still mattered enough for someone to fight for them, name by name, paper by paper, bribe by bribe, until the killing machine finally ran out of time.